Sup? So you probably noticed from the program that the title of my speech is All Gas, No Brakes. I just want to clarify for any driver's ed teachers out there, I don't mean for that to be taken literally. For any parents in the crowd, not telling your kids that they need to live hard and fast. The meaning of all gas, no brakes isn't necessarily to go all out all the time. So when you guys come up here and get your diplomas, don't need to sprint, just come and get it. What I'm referring to is momentum. Not rushing forward through life haphazardly, or even obsessively pursuing goals for the glory of conquest. I'm talking about fortitude and strength of character. All the traits that get us over the speed bumps of life. I'd like to thank the people who have helped give us momentum. All of our teachers, staff, and coaches, Mr. Mott, Mr. Childs, Mr. Thill, Dr. Graves. Thanks. Oh, and I'd like to particularly thank Coach Vano for giving me this little gem. So Vano was addressing our football team, getting the boys pumped up to go back out onto the gridiron and fight. There was a dramatic moment of silence. Then there was Vano. I've got one word for you boys. Laser focus. Now that I have the laser focus of your undivided attention, Mitchell High School, class of 2017, I have but 3 words for you. All gas, no brakes. As Raina so eloquently said, we definitely have a lot to be proud of and thankful for. Despite this, most of us have seen our share of disappointments as well. In the midst of one of these learning opportunities, we all probably heard or were told that high school doesn't matter, or it won't matter in 5 years, so don't worry about it now. Now, the second I heard those phrases, I knew they were true. I started to realize that there's a lot of things I shouldn't have to worry about. It was a universal principle. It applied to all of my responsibilities. Then I tried to explain to my mom why I hadn't done my laundry in 3 weeks. You see, the truth closely follows the philosophical theory, often referred to in its Latin name, Fabricium nam wash stickum, which roughly translates to every sock matters. It was an online class. What it really means is that I can wash everything in my room except for 3 socks. 3. And my room will still reek. Every sock matters. You see, the high school matter phrase does touch on a valid point. Nobody wants to be 47 years old and still dragging their high school trophies into a job interview. What people ought to say is that high school doesn't necessarily matter more than any other part of your life. Every day matters as much as the next. High school is important because the direction of our lives is important. The choices we make every day create habits, and the accumulative effects of those habits and choices bring consequences. Just like I made the choice every day for 3 weeks not to do my laundry until I was so desperate I actually considered wearing my 7th grade baseball pants to school. The attitudes, ambition, and work ethics we mold in high school don't stop at the end of this stage. All of our teachers and coaches have focused their incalculable effort into teaching us everything from algebra to basketball. But more than anything else, they aspire to teach us to aspire. They challenge us so that we may overcome. They push us so that we may learn to push ourselves. They work hard to send us out into the world with plenty of momentum and teach us how to maintain it all of our lives. Our task is to recognize that momentum and to use it to move past new challenges. All gas, no brakes. And one of the best ways we can prepare for our future is to learn from our past. And that is something that my father, the history teacher, has very, very fervently paid me to say. Actually, Actually, you'd be surprised how many things you could be paid not to say. Right, Dr. Grace? Let's look at two of Mitchell's very successful programs this year, our show choir and our football team. Our show choir was changed forever when in 1995, one of its most dedicated members, Jason Kaming, was accidentally killed in a pedestrian car accident by two of his classmates. In the wake of a seemingly insurmountable tragedy, Mitchell's show choir reemerged with a new, undauntable passion and positive energy. In Jason's honor, they named themselves Friend et Coup, which is French for Friends Come Together, to symbolize how his memory inspired them. And I've noticed that friendship and community, while important aspects of Friend et Coup, are not its core meaning so much as that positive drive and energy associated with that name and the way it was formed. Our show choir has created a culture of its own that's rather indescribable, and it's absolutely infectious to anyone it touches. It makes their dedication and work ethic unparalleled. And it's been over 20 years since the core idea of Friend et Coup was formed, yet they've carried that momentum year after year, and the result of such powerful momentum in a small town is a small town show choir that has been nationally ranked and has won every state championship in the history of their sport. Every member of Friend et Coup today still carries the same idea inspired by Jason Kaming, even though none of them were even alive when that idea was formed. What we learn from it is this: every day matters. Our daily choices create habits, and those habits have consequences. Through the attitudes, ambition, work ethic, and dreams of others, we have momentum. I like that guy. Now, as an observer, it took me all football season to really understand the meaning of all gas, no brakes. Throughout the regular season, our team center, Alex Klingeman, was absolutely notorious for blocking his opponents long after they stopped resisting, often putting them on their backs. He almost got in trouble a couple of times. Now, I remember talking to Al, giving him a long sermon about sportsmanship and restraint. Al just looked at me very thoughtfully and he said, "Can't stop, won't stop, but." I remember watching the state championship game, where in the third quarter, Spencer Nagebauer scored a touchdown to make the score 34-6. Spencer was visibly exhausted, having run for over 200 yards already. I remember hearing a person next to me wondering out loud why he was still running all the way through the end zone when the defense was 20 yards away. They have a point. The kid can run like a gazelle, and you're not going to catch him in the last couple of steps. Now, it's true that Spencer could have slowed down and Al could have stopped blocking soon, and it wouldn't have mattered on that particular play. But if there had been even a single member on our football team who was only willing to do the bare minimum, who was looking to slam on the brakes the instant they crossed the finish line, then we wouldn't be talking about our first championship football team in 89 years. We'd be looking back on another losing season telling our football team, "Don't worry, it won't matter in 5 years." In running and blocking, it's absolutely vital to keep your feet moving, to keep your momentum. Spencer had no idea how far the defenders were away from tackling him. He couldn't afford to look over his shoulder because that would slow down his momentum. Our linemen couldn't afford to stop blocking the moment they thought they were no longer needed. They couldn't even afford to listen for the whistle that signaled the end of the play. If we want to succeed, it all has to matter. We have to want to succeed far more than we are afraid to fail. We have to be willing to waste our energy and to be called for unnecessary roughness, because our daily habits have consequences. Our future is fueled by the past. Through the attitudes, ambition, work ethic, and dreams of others, we have momentum. All gas, no brakes. Our lives will contain adversities that shake us to our core, where our ambitions and hopes seem to fall apart. These are the times we have to reevaluate what is important to us and why we want to accomplish our goals. These are the times we must pick ourselves up and pursue what we believe in with more audacity than ever before, like our show choir that chose to honor the memory of a friend and even now draws momentum from the inspiration of his life. There will be temptations in everyday life to compromise on our standards, to tell ourselves what we do today does not matter, to settle instead of giving it our all. Instead, we must hold strong to our goals and ideals. We need to keep working through the whistle and keep running through the end zone. Eventually, all of our old high school trophies and keepsakes will collect dust. But let us not let that be because we have forgotten their importance. Let it be because we no longer need them to remember what they have taught us. Graduating from high school has been a vital step in our lives. Let's be sure to maintain our momentum, because from this moment forward, every step we take will either speed us up or slow us down. With our work ethic, our attitudes, our ambitions, our dreams, we are momentum. All gas, no brakes.